desperation. Close your heart to their suffering.
The God of War series is set to continue very soon, with Kratos leaving the world of Greek mythology behind and invading Norse mythology with his son Atreus. So I thought now is a pretty good time to go through everything we know about God of War. You ready? Let's do this. The story of Kratos will be continuing from where we left off back in God of War 3, so every single act of violence in those previous 3 main titles is canon, including murdering your own father. Oh, and my personal favourite, ripping off the head of Helios. Time has passed, and although Kratos is still mourning the loss of his wife and daughter, he now has a son, Atreus, who will be accompanying his dad on this new adventure. And by the sounds of things, Atreus' mother may have either left or have died.
Your mother's knife. It belongs to you now.
From everything we've seen so far, Atreus will act similarly to Ellie in The Last of Us, as both an assistance in battle and also as the narrative core of the story, as Kratos teaches his son how to hunt and ultimately push him towards being his own man. Atreus' arrows can stun enemies, giving his dad time to close the gap and end the fight quickly. As Kratos builds combos, he can order his son to jump in too, leading to some touching father-son moments.
You must be a warrior.
From the outside looking in, it appears that whilst Kratos is teaching his son how to be a total badass, his son is teaching him the meaning of humanity, trust and redemption.
But not everyone is bad. Mother always said to be open to those who can help.
The story behind each God of War game have always been compelling, but this one may hit you in the feels. I'm not crying, I've just been cutting onions. As I mentioned at the start, Kratos is leaving behind Greek mythology and venturing into a new world of Norse gods. We've already seen what looks to be the Midgard serpent, Jormungandr. I can't say that, sorry. Jormungandr? Jormungandr. You try it. As this is Norse mythology, could we see Kratos go up against Thor, the god of lightning, and maybe his dad, Odin? Game director Cory Barlog says the setting takes place before the Viking era, which would mean Thor wouldn't be around. Is this a red herring, or maybe the Viking Norse gods are being saved for future titles? We'll find out very soon. Oh, and look! A freaking dragon flies overhead. I cannot wait for that battle. The original God of War combat was a hack and slash dream with more weapons to use than you can imagine. In the latest God of War title, the combat has been refined with a simple shield and axe making up the bulk of Kratos' attacks. The shield folds nicely away and the axe can be called to Kratos when he raises his hand, once again reminiscent of Thor. The fight scenes we've witnessed so far show Kratos using varied tactics to beat his foes, using his son to cause distractions, or finding environmental objects to sway the fight in his favour. For some, this change in combat may be jarring, but don't worry, Kratos has a rage bar to fill, which will allow him to go on one of his legendary Spartan rages and do things like this. Going back to the axe for a moment, which is named Leviathan, this beast has rune slots for upgrades and attack modifiers. We've seen different elemental damage types used, with the ice and frost ones the only extensive evidence we've seen in-game, which blend AoE attacks and subtle slowing down of enemies using freezing attacks. This rune slot on Leviathan can change the properties of the weapon, both for light attacks and heavy attacks. Let's quickly look at a few things that have been confirmed, but we don't have any concrete specifics just yet. God of War will utilise a crafting system. The developers are keeping very tight-lipped on this one, but it is suggested that items and materials Kratos discovers on his journey and picks up around the world will grant us the ability to craft armour sets. Kratos will be venturing to some pretty cold places, so maybe a wolf pelt overcoat wouldn't go amiss. As an extension to the armor crafting, game director Cory Barlog has confirmed there will be new costumes to unlock. Remember the all-black Kratos with the neon red markings in God of War 3? That was damn epic, and can only be beaten by a pink version. I won't hold my breath on that one. Armor crafting will apply to Atreus too.
Good.
On our journey, we will be picking up XP to be used in a skill tree for both Kratos and his son, which will be yet another RPG aspect of progression to sit beside crafting and the rune swapping in our axe. The average gamer will spend between 25 and 35 hours trying to finish God of War, and at present there is no DLC or additional content hinted at, but if that does come to fruition, I'll be certain to make a follow-up video on that. And finally, when can we expect this juggernaut of a game? We're still waiting on an official date, but Reddit has found the potential date on the North American PlayStation Network store. March 22nd, 2018. It may slip another month, but in the past, March has been used as a release window for other God of War titles. Like always, when the date is confirmed, I'll pin it in the comments below. So there you have it, God of War 2018 is shaping up to be a must-play title for PlayStation gamers. Fingers crossed that the release date is correct, not long to wait now. And to whet your appetite for future God of War titles, Cory Barlog has mentioned a new direction for Kratos, which would see him face off with Mayan and Egyptian gods in future iterations. Kratos versus Osiris.
बाहों में तेरी